Hi, and welcome to 30 Days of Brave Thinking. I'm Mary Morrissey, and today I'm offering you a gift that will help you stay calm, help you discover that even during very, very turbulent times, you have a power in you that you can actually call upon, and instead of being taken down by a difficult time, you can actually find a way to have this be one of the most empowering times of your life. So it's completely free. It's the fruit of many, many years of study of transformation, and I'm giving it to you. For 40 years, my mission has been in helping people, empowering people, and training people in how to have a mindset that's a match to the results they want to have in their lives, how to move results from one set of results to another set of results that are more empowering, more life-giving, more fruitful for them, for their families, for their workplace, and literally for our world. And it works. I've been working with this for my entire life, helping tens of thousands of people all over the world, and especially in difficult moments like this one. I believe that the right thing to do is give everything I can give you completely free here. And in 30 days, you can establish a set point, a mindset point, and a way of understanding how you can use even the most difficult times in your life to actually help you catapult your life forward. Not because so much of the difficult time or in spite of it, but because of how you went through the difficult time. And if you just keep breathing, you're going to create results anyway. And since we're in this difficult time, why not use it to the benefit of you, your dreams, the impact you can bring, and the difference you can offer? So I'm happy to make this offer to you. It's completely free. So to support you today, I'm going to share with you a short video clip from my signature 3-day event, DreamBuilder Live. You know, during that event, people come from all over the world, hundreds of people, to learn how to face their challenging circumstances, release feelings of fear and doubt and worry, and have real skill sets in how to apply the invisible spiritual laws that govern all our results and use the application of those in service of creating results in a life they absolutely love living. So yes, we're facing some difficult times. So let's pull upon this training for each one of us to help us use this time in a truly constructive way. I hope you enjoy this clip. So before we begin, take a deep breath. Take another one. Bring yourself into the present moment. Stay inside this day and inside this present moment. Make sure your notifications, your pings and dings that might come to you through your technology are shut off. So much coming at us. Let's take some moments now and turn to what's seeking to emerge to us and through us.
So to help us understand the anatomy of dream building, would you please welcome to this stage the way you'd want to be welcomed, the amazing John Boggs.
Right. Hello, Dream Builders. Mary did a great job of setting this story up. Well, I want to take a second. Where's 𝗗𝗆? Where are you, Carla? Right. Let's hear one more round of applause for 𝗗𝗆. Thank you. Thank you, Carla, for your inspiration and showing us what it is like when we take life's circumstance, situation, and condition, and we set out and we hold a vision, and then we take steps in that direction, what can happen. And that is what this story will also show us. And Mary says, and we say in our work, that the code that she has come up with over the last 40 years is reliable, it is repeatable, and it is also predictable. Reliable, repeatable, predictable. And you will see folks move across the stage from their current circumstances to a vision a number of times this weekend, and this story is one example. The anatomy of dream building. As I tell this story, Mary mentioned, and I also encourage you to put yourself in the middle of the story. Take your dream. Notice the different elements of dream building that are at work here, and how they apply to you. Notice the common hour thinking that I go through, and also the moments where I'm challenged to be a brave thinker. Okay? So this is my dream. My story actually does not start in 2007. This story starts in 1994. And that is me and my 2-year-old son, Ricardo. I was kind of a, maybe not that atypical early 20-year-old man, kind of lost a little bit, wandering around. I found myself in 𝗕𝗵𝗃 𝗧𝗵𝗶ₛ. And I was hanging out there and kind of goofing around, really, until I found out I was going to be a dad. And once I found out I was going to be a father, I decided to get serious. I was in love with the idea of fatherhood. I wanted to be a good dad. And I was a single father. Ricardo and I had a great relationship, and we would do all kinds of adventures. All kinds of adventures, he and I. And this was one particular day where we were having a good time. And yet, even though as I became a father, my business career began to flourish. I was working hard. I was passionate. I had a reason why I was doing what I was doing. I had a reason why I was focused, and it was in the form of this little boy. And yet, even though I found a great level of passion, and I was enjoying my work and enjoying being a dad, there was something missing for me in the story. What do you think was missing for me? A girl, a wife, yes, all of those things. You are right, but remember, I'm living in 𝗕𝗵𝗃 𝗧𝗵𝗶ₛ. So, and at this age, at this point, I'm 26, I'm looking specifically for a hot Latina. That's what I'm looking for. Now, actually, let me back up for just a minute and say, some of you might be curious. You met Matt Boggs, right? The M.E. for your weekend, Mary's youngest child. And you met Richard Boggs and Jennifer Jimenez, Mary's second and third child. And you know that my name is Boggs. I want to make sure you're clear here. Now, you know in her story where she talks about walking the little boy into kindergarten? That's me. That's me. Okay? Just so you know. I meant to mention that. And by the way, I finished kindergarten, just so that you know. I did. I did. I completed it. Everything was great. So. And then, see, so that was the first image in her scaffolding images, her vision. The first was walking her little boy into kindergarten, right? The next image was his high school graduation. Yes, that occurred. And then the third image was sitting in the front row of his. That's right. And I did marry that hot Latina. Her name is Dora. Dora and I got married, and yes, Mary was sitting in the front row of that wedding. And so Dora and I and Ricardo became a family. And our next dream, actually before I get to the next dream, you can notice here there is some changing of what I'm looking for. My vision is shifting. How many of you know that dream building involves some changing of visions and dreams over time? Yes, good. One way we can tell, just by a show of hands, how many of you have even a slightly different dream today than you did when you were 10 years old? Okay, good. All right, so we're on the same page. So I'm doing some dream building here. My business career is going fairly well. I have an incredible son. I meet this amazing woman. She says yes to marrying me, thank God. And so we've got this little family going on. And then we have the next typical dream. What do you think the next dream is? House. You've done this before, some of you, I think. You know where this is going. Big challenge in Mexico, though. See, the Mexican peso, the currency there, fluctuates up and down a lot. And so the economy is so volatile that there is no financing. It's not like here in the United States where you can put a typical down payment down and then get a mortgage. And get a home that way. So, and I have a lot of admiration for most Mexican families. What they do is they get a piece of land and they just start building with whatever they can afford. It can even be plywood and cinder block and cardboard. I mean, but over the course of a lifetime, they will build an amazing home. And I didn't think that my wife wanted cardboard, so we were renting. And as we were renting, we were holding this image and this dream of finding a way to get into a home. And about a year after we got married, a developer came to Cabo that was offering, he was going to build 12 homes in this cute little community, and he was going to offer private financing, developer financing on the homes. So one day, Dora and I ran down to the office to find out what the cost of the homes were, and really awesome experience, except we did not have the full amount for the down payment for the houses. And so we were a little sad, and we were walking out of the office, and the sales guy came out after us and said, let me ask you a question. You know, the homes aren't going to be done for 9 months. So if you could just put down a deposit, if you could come up with the rest of the down payment during the next 9 months, then we would go ahead and sell you a home. Do you think you could do that? And I said, well, let my wife and I talk for a minute, and we talked. And it was really a moment for us that was going to be a leap of faith. If we did this, if we put the money down, then we were really on the hook to do everything that we could to complete the rest of that commitment over the next 9 months. So reflect on your own life for a second. Has there ever been a moment where you really wanted something and yet you didn't know how it was all going to work out, but you took a step in the direction anyway? How many of you have ever done that? Yeah, that's the moment we were in. And so we went ahead and we said, yes, let's do this. And something amazing happened, and maybe this has happened in your life too. The minute we put the deposit down, it was like magic began to happen. All of a sudden, my wife's work, she owned a restaurant, an amazing restaurant in Cabo, and the restaurant business was going well. We were both in sales during the daytime, and we were both selling, and we were on fire. We were on fire with this dream, and we managed over that 9 months to absolutely, well, I say we, but mostly her. She made most of the money for us to be able to put the down payment down and move into that house. And I lovingly say that one of the most important pieces of great dream building is to find the right spouse, just so you know. She's an amazing dream builder. So we were able to move into this little house. This is what the house looked like. It was 1,500 square feet, had a nice little view overlooking the Bay of Cabo San Lucas, and this is the family that moved into the house. And we were really loving that little house. It was an amazing, magical time for the three of us. And but like all great dream builders, our dreams were continuing to evolve. So what do you think we wanted next? Babies? Someone said more babies? Yes, we wanted more babies. And believe you me, we were practicing. So we were working on it. Just out of curiosity, how many of you have ever been to Mexico before on vacation? Wow, oh my gosh, 80% of this room. Anybody in here ever offered 2-for-1 margaritas when you went down there? Yeah, so you know what happens, and so you know what can happen down there. So this is what happened to us. Bam! This is 𝗕𝗿𝗃 and 𝗕𝗏 on their very first day of going to school. Yeah. And it was awesome. It was awesome. My friends were saying, oh my gosh, you're going to have twins. That's going to be so much work. And I said, what are you talking about? If you got to change one diaper, you change two. It's not that big of a deal. It's not coordinated. No one ever told me that. My friend said, oh, you're so blessed. I say, yeah, if you've ever had twins, you know what it means to be blessed. And quickly, very quickly, my former dream, pay attention to this. My former dream life no longer fit my current life. The old dream no longer worked for the new life. And man, oh man, we quickly figured this out. That little house only had 2 bedrooms. So for the first couple of years, the girls were in bassinets in my bedroom. And that quickly became cramped. And I quickly found myself in a position where I was paying a lot of attention to my longing and my discontent. My discontent was no place in the house where there was any peace and quiet. I mean, no place in the house where there was peace and quiet. And stepping over toys constantly. And just wanting, I can remember just wanting just 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes. And my longing was for more home, a bigger home. But what's the problem? What's the challenge with buying a home in Mexico? No financing. No. Now, what we would call that, Mary would later call that, what do we call that over here? Circumstances, situation, condition. Okay? But see, at this point, I'm living in Mexico. In my mind, I'm building a real career while my mom is off doing her woo-woo stuff. Yeah. So I had a great mentor, great business mentor, taught me a lot of amazing things. In fact, I very quickly, when I moved to Cabo and found out I was going to be a dad, I better get serious. I got this mentor, great guy. He had every bit of the business success that I wanted. And I said, what do I do? What do I do? And he said, listen, you really want what I have? I go, yeah, I want your results. He said, okay, then here's the deal. You have to be willing to do whatever it takes. Whatever I instruct, you have to be willing to do. I'll never ask you to do anything I haven't done. Are you really willing to do what it's going to take? And I said yes, and we went to work. And I started to have great results in business, and yet the gap financially in my personal life between the home I was living in and anything bigger was just unsurmountable. I didn't see any way to do that. In fact, one time he told me, you know what the enemy, at this point as I was kind of crying on his shoulder about my situation, he said, you know, John, you know what the enemy of great is? I said, I don't know, bad? And he said, no, good. The enemy of great is good. And here's the deal, you have it good. You have to be willing to risk. You have to be willing to risk the good you have if what you want is great. It's not hard to risk when things are bad. That's why good is the enemy of great. And so I said, give me a plan. And I said, here's the situation I'm in. And so I spent the next 2 years working his plan, trying to figure out a way. He gave me ideas like a lease option and a whole list of strategies. And every moment that I had, I was out looking at homes, looking for a way, making offers, trying to find a way into a new home. And over the 2 years, I didn't get any closer to my dream. There was no way I could make it happen. One day I walked into work, this 2 years, and he could see on my face just this frustration. He goes, what's wrong? And I said, man, I've tried everything. I've seen every house for sale in Cabo. There's no way this is going to work. He said, all right, if you've tried all those methods, there's one more method, which is just a traditional savings and investment opportunity that you can do. Sit down. So, he goes, this might work. And I started to feel some hope. I said, what are you going to tell me? He said, listen, how much equity do you have in your current home? We wrote that up. How much can you afford? And how much are the houses that you've been looking at that you might be able to get into that you would like? And I told him these numbers, and he said, yeah, here's the deal. It's going to take you about 15 years. Now, what kind of thinking was he using? Common hour thinking. See, here's the interesting thing. You can get from your current circumstance, situation, and condition to the life that you would love. Often you can get there using common hour thinking. It's just going to take you a lot longer. A lot longer. I began to see what's in the middle between my current circumstances and the life that I want over here. What's in the middle? Gap. Gap. No financing. No financing. That day when I left work, I was feeling really down. Really down. And I went home, and my son and I had a fun tradition. I had moved the girls into what was his bedroom. And to try to accommodate him, there was a little den that we remodeled, and we could at least get a bed in there. It wasn't a bedroom, but at least it was a place where we could put a door and give him a bed in there. And so every night when he would get done with his athletics and I'd be done working and it was bedtime, we would have story time. And at this point, early 2000s, a new children's book series had come out, and he and I were really into this. It was called Harry Potter. Any of you familiar with Harry Potter? Yeah. So we were reading Harry Potter, and we would have a lot of fun with it. And I would always try to look for some spot in the book where something amazing was going to happen, and then right before it would happen, I would say, "Okay, good night." And he'd say, "No, Dad, 2 more pages, please, 2 more pages." And I'd read a couple more pages. And it was really, at that point, one of the major wonderful things that was going on in my life was that connection with him and that time that he and I would spend doing that, just the two of us. That night when I got home, I was looking forward to that reading time with him, and he and I did our reading, and I told him goodnight and gave him a kiss, and I turned and I was walking out of his bedroom, and he said, "Hey, Dad. I turned around and I said, "Yeah?" And he said, "Do you ever think someday I might get my own bedroom again?" And I just felt like someone had punched me in the gut. At first didn't know what to say. So I just said the truth. I just said, "I don't know, but I hope so." "Okay, Dad." I left his room, his area. Hey, that's not funny. There was even a part of me, let's see if any of you relate to this. You've got it good. You've got a lot of stuff that's going on. You're blessed. Let me just say, if you're in this room, you are blessed. You are blessed, yes. And there was a part of me that really almost felt guilty for wanting more. Anybody ever have that feeling? Yeah. I came to learn that one of the greatest universal laws, if you go to the ocean doesn't care if you go with a teaspoon or a dump truck. There's plenty of abundance. You can absolutely be grateful for everything that you have and want more blessing. Absolutely. But at that point I wasn't sure, and I was right on the fence of considering just settling. Just figuring out some way to make it okay that I couldn't achieve what I wanted to have. And it was right at that time that Grandma came down to visit her grandchildren. And this is Grandma Mary reading to little 𝗕𝗄. And they had their own bedtime story. And we put 𝗕𝗄 to bed, and then Mary and I, Mom and I, were sitting out on the deck of that little house overlooking the bay, and she asked me a question. And this is a question many of you have been contemplating already this morning, and maybe before you even came to DreamBuilder Live. This is a very, very potent question, and the question was this: what's next? What's next? Now, I wasn't thinking about the question the way most of you are probably thinking today. So my answer was, well, we put the kids down and now we're going to go to bed, and then tomorrow I'm going to take you to the airport. She said, no. Let me ask you this way. If you could do or have anything, what would you love? If you could do or have anything, what would you love? Now, do you think I knew the answer to that question? I did know the answer to that question. So think about your own life for a moment right now. Your health and well-being. If you could have any health and well-being evidence, what would you love? See, that's a brave thinking question. That's not a common hour thinking question. If you could have the career success, be able to do whatever it is in the world that you would love to do, what would you truly love? In your relationships and in your time and money freedom. Now, she asked me the question, and yes, I knew the answer. But let me tell you something. I'd spent a lot of years in the corporate world. And in the corporate world, there's not a lot of people running around saying, what would you love? What would you love, John? It's not happening. It's more like, what do you think we can do? Right? So I answered the question for her, and the answer, of course, was a dream home. A dream home. But what was my emotional state? What was my emotional state? It looked like this. You see, I had lost hope. I had lost hope. All I could stare at as I'm standing here, and I know that dream home is over there, all I could stare at was this thing in the middle. What's it called? The gap. So I went where those that are focused on the gap go when she asked the question. I said it was, well, a dream home, Mom. I would love to have a dream home, but let me give you all the reasons it can't work. Now, reflect for a minute. You did a brave thing this morning already, and that was to implement Mary's technology called Time Machine. I can remember the first time I did Time Machine. I'm like, what the heck are we doing? And let me tell you something. Here's the interesting thing. See if this happened for you. I could say a lot of really cool stuff that I would want, but I wasn't feeling it. I wasn't feeling it. And the other half of my mind was going, I don't know about this. And that's the moment I was in with her. And when I told her all the reasons I couldn't, I understand, Mom, you got to understand, there's no financing down here. You can see the peso fluctuates. It's very volatile. And the interest rates here are like 39%. There's no way I can afford to borrow the money to buy a house. And see, I got to tell you, I've looked everywhere. See, my mentor told me to go, and he gave me lease option, and I'm giving her all the reasons. And she patiently waited for a second, and then she said, hold on. I guess let me ask you a question. How many of you think Mary was really interested in my conditions? And she took my attention off of the gap. And she said, all I asked you is, what would you love? Oh, come on here. I said, just, what's over here? What's over here? And the way that she did that was brilliant. She said, what would the house look like? What would the house look like? See, today is all about what phase of dream building? Blueprinting. And I told her how many bedrooms it would have and how many bathrooms it would have. And the girls would have their own big place to play and throw toys around. And Ricardo would have his own room. And I'm telling her all of this. And she said, grab a napkin. So I went into the kitchen and I grabbed a napkin and I actually drew an image. I had an image in my mind. I had seen a lot of homes, many of which had elements that I would like. And I would say, man, if I ever had my own home, I would like it to have this or that or a pool or a man cave or, whatever it was that was important to me. And then she asked me a qualifying question. As I drew out the house, she had me calibrate my emotional state around the vision with this question. Would you love this house? Would you really love that house? And my answer was a resounding yes. Full of a lot of doubt that I could ever have it, but if I could have that, I would love it. And then she asked me a really, really important question, a life-changing question, frankly, and it was this: would you be willing to be helped? So let me ask you a question. How many of you have dreamed up a vision today that you would really love? You have? Great. Now let's go ahead and hear you speak this. How many of you would be willing to be helped? Yeah? You'd be willing to be helped? Great. Great. Because here's the thing. If you could create it on your own, you already would have. And that's the position I was in. See, I was in a great position because I had tried everything I could do on my own. And I knew that my best thinking was not going to lead me there. I didn't know to call it common hour thinking yet. I hadn't studied this woo-woo stuff yet. But I knew what I was doing wasn't working. And so then she gave me brave thinking tool number 4. How many of you want brave thinking tool number 4? Oh, you do. Okay, great. Here it is. What could you do where you are with what you have? What could you do where you are with what you have? And at first I was a little stumped. Well, I don't know. I feel like I've done everything. And that's why having a mentor is so important. That's why having someone that can help you take a look at your thinking. Some of us at the Wisdom Lunch heard a couple of great shares where I was thinking to myself, that was me, man. That was me. I needed someone to help me look at my thinking. I couldn't see it. Matt, my brother Matt, likes to say it's hard to see the image when you're the one in the frame. Something like that. I don't think I said that. It's hard to see the picture when you're the one in the frame. Right? I needed someone to help me. So she led me through a great process at that moment when I said, I don't know what I could do. She led me through a great process that she will lead you through on Sunday. It is awesome. And it revealed some opportunities that we had. See, my wife and I had bought as an investment a piece of land in 𝗵𝗶 that overlooked the bay. It was a great piece of land. There was no development there, no streets, no infrastructure, nothing. But I told her, I said, throughout this process, I thought, I do have this piece of land. Dora and I have this investment. She goes, well, let me ask you this. If you could do or have anything and you would love to have this dream house, would you like to have it on that land? I said, I would love that. She said, okay, you got a piece of land. And I said, and I've got a napkin. And I've got a napkin. And she said, would you be willing to do some visualization? Would you be willing to visualize? I said, yeah. And she said, so you would take your napkin, you would go to your land, and you would, and this is again my first, didn't know that this is what it was, but it was my first exposure to this technology that you experienced in Time Machine. She said, so you would be willing to go to that piece of land, visualize with that napkin what it would really feel like to be in that home. And I said, yes. I said, yes. And she said, how many times would you be willing to do that? And I said, you got to do it more than once? No, I knew better, but she said something interesting to me. I said, I don't know, how many times do I need to do it? And she said, well, let's put it to you this way. Right now, your vision, what you have right now is called a vision for what you would love. And it's in its infancy. Now, John, you have 3 kids. When your kids were infants, how often did you feed them? I said, constantly. Constantly. Well, you're going to have to put some time and energy into this. I said, all right, well, here's the cool thing. That piece of land happened to be about 2 miles from where I lived, and I could easily go walk over there with my dog, go on a hike. It was up on a hill. I could go there every day. I'll go there once a day. She said, great. I took her to the airport, dropped her off, and then I did what I could do where I was with what I had, and I went there every day. Went there every day, and we were doing this, doing what you can, where you are, with what you have. What could you do where you are with what you have? And she said, as you're doing this, remember this. This is really important. You always have way more than you're aware of. So as you continue to do what you can, where you are with what you have, pay attention to the fact that, John, you're not aware of everything. You have access to way more than you're aware of. Grow your awareness. And so I went to that piece of land with that napkin, and I went there every single day. In fact, one day when I was up there, I thought, I can't really visualize what the view is going to be like from the second story very well. So I actually went and bought a scaffolding and put it on that land so that I could walk up to where the second floor was going to be. In fact, this is one of the days when my wife Dora and our 2 girls and one of their friends went, and I was showing them where the house is going to be, and I told the girls, this is where your bedroom will be, and Ricardo will be over here, and I could really walk them through there. I was going every day. How often was I going? Every day. How often are you going to work on your dream? Every day. Amen. You do that, and it will happen. So I'm doing this. I'm up there. I'm making it happen, and I did that for about 6 months when it became vacation time, and so we went to Oregon to visit family. At that time, my family was all living up in Oregon, and we went, and my grandmother, who came every year, twice a year, to come hang out with me and my family, my mom's mom, my grandmother, her name was Dorothy, and this image is Dorothy and Mary taking my 2 daughters to a tea party. And they had a great tea party. And then Mary asked me on that trip, okay, how's it going? And I said, great. I've been doing the visualization every day. And she said, what? Now what? What's next? What's next? And I said, I don't know. I've been doing everything that I can think of. And we went through that process, that activation process again. And she said, let me ask you this, John. Do you think a builder could actually build the house from the napkin that you have? I said, well, no. She said, what would you need? And I said, well, we would need to get real plans for a house. She said, okay. I said, okay, yeah, I guess I could go get real plans. And she said, great. That's the next thing that you can do that would move you in the direction of your dream. So I went back to 𝗗𝘃. I knew an architect. I went back to 𝗗𝘃, and I went in, and I gave him my napkin, and I said, I want this house. And Dora and I went actually together, and he sat us down and had a great questionnaire and asked my wife all of the things that she would love in the house, and I gave him all the things that I would love, and I said, how much would it cost for real plans? And so he did some calculating, and he said, about 15 grand. I had no idea that plans for a house were going to cost 15 grand. So I said, and I'm thinking to myself, she didn't mean that. So I told him, thank you very much, and I left. And on the way home, I called her, and I said, I went and saw the architect, and she said, how did it go? And I said, well, we told him everything we wanted. She goes, and was it further clarifying of all the dreams and the goals that you and Dora have? And I said, yes. And she said, and you got the plans? And I said, no, it's $15,000 for the plans. And she said, you know what she said? And you didn't get them? And I said, Mom, why would I spend $15,000 for a set of plans for a house I can't build? And you know what she said to that? You're never going to build it without the plans. I'm here. See, what she knows is you don't jump. You got to take the step you can take. So over this weekend, for you, your dream, be looking for the step you can take. It takes brave thinking when the step you can take puts you in a position where you can't see any of the other steps. But you can take that one. She asked me, do you have the $15,000? I said, yeah, but I got no money to build a house. She said, if that's the step you can take and you have the money for the plans, here's the key. Are you still in love with the home? Yes. Then take the step you can take. And we did that. And we had him start on the plans. We're doing what we can, where we are, with what we have. And we go in to pick the plans up. And this was a very important moment as a dream builder, as someone practicing brave thinking. Because the day that my wife and I went, we put the $7,500 down to start the plans, and then you pay the other $7,500 when you pick them up. So I go in there the day to pick them up, and on the way in there, I called her and I said, listen, we're going in today to pick up our plans. And she said, great. So as you're looking at the plans, so for you, as you're looking at your blueprint, in other words, your description of what you would love, what you've written in your book, she said, pay attention to whether there's any adjustment needed to really make it what you would love. If there's any rattle in you about any part of what you've written, pay attention to that and make the adjustment. So we went in to get the plans, and I told the architect, walk us through the house with the real plans. And he was showing us where everything was going to be, and Dora and I had made the agreement. We're going to tell him if there's any part of this. And then Dora said, you know what, I really want the kitchen to be a little bit bigger. And she said, you know, Ricardo, yes, he has his own bedroom, but what he really wants is his own bathroom too. So let's give him a bathroom. And I said, okay, put a 5th bathroom in the house. I guess that's fine, you know. Put it in there. And the girls really wanted a walk-in closet. So let's give the girls a walk-in closet, and we'll put that in. And we made all of these adjustments. And so I said to him, let me ask you this. How much more would it cost to build the house with these adjustments we've made? And he said, 70 to 90 grand. I said, well, I'm not building it anyway. So I very confidently told him, write it up. Do it. So he made the changes, and I had to go back the next week. I went back, wrote the final check, and man, did I have a great set of $15,000 wallpaper. Let me tell you, it was great. And now I'm taking the plans up to the lot. I'm taking the plans up there on a daily basis. And of course, I'm hearing Mary in at this point, I'm already hearing what she's going to say to me. What she's going to say, now what? What's next? Do what you can, right? With what you have from where you are. What can you do where you are with what you have? Oh. I started thinking at this point a real brave thinking thought. Some of you have had some of these thoughts already, and you will have more of them. They're the kind that just shoot you full of energy. You're like, oh my God, really that? And for me, it was this. This big idea was this one. Sell my house. Sell my house. Now, and so I called her and I said, listen, I'm having this thought. I should sell my house, but I'm afraid. I'm afraid if I sell my house, where am I going to live? And she said, well, where were you living before you bought the house? And I said, I was renting. She goes, you can rent again. I know, but if I sell it, that amount of money won't build the whole house. She said, John, take the step you can take. Do what you can where you are with what you have. And so I took a bold move and put the house up for sale. About 2 weeks later, a gentleman walked into my office who was down in Cabo on vacation. At that point, my realtor was on vacation. He wasn't around. So this man came and found me in my office at work, and he said, hey, I heard you have a house for sale, and I'd love to see it. Would you be willing to show it to me? So I told him, sure, I would love to show you the house. So I took him in my car. We went over. We took a look at the house. We're not there 10 minutes. And he says, I love it. I want to buy it. I said, well, my realtor's not even in town. And he goes, that's okay. Let's just do a handshake deal. I'm like, all right, done. You can buy the house. Got to figure out the rest of it, I guess. I mean, the paperwork and everything. But it was an exciting moment. And so I needed to take him back, and I needed to go back to work. So I'm taking him back to where he's staying. And I say to him on the way over there, I said, when are you going to want the house? And he goes, I don't know. When do you want to move out? And so I told him the truth. I don't want to move out. And he said, you know, what's interesting is my wife and I are buying this as a place that we'll be able to stay in the wintertime when we retire, and that's not for 5 years. We'd love for you to stay in the house. So I sold the house and didn't even have to move. I called Mary. This brave thinking stuff's starting to work. And we sold it, and we went to work. I went down to the architect, and I said, okay, I've got some money. How far do you think we can get with this? And he looked at the amount of money and the plans, and he said, about the foundation, maybe the garage. I said, great, let's start. Remember how people build homes in Mexico? Now it's a blessing. Sometimes what you think of as the greatest challenge to your dream is actually the greatest blessing in disguise. See, I could do this. I could start. So we did. We went to work, and we started building the foundation. And I'll never forget the day I picked Ricardo up one day from school. And I take him up there, and I say, hey, this is where your bedroom's going to be. This is where your bedroom's going to be. And we managed to build the garage, and that was about it. And we're getting ready to close down construction. We got the garage, the foundation, we got the plumbing and the foundation, all that's in. And we got a little bit of money left over, and I'm telling the architect, could we build one wall? What if we just get one wall? And at least I can have a wall. Maybe you can stick a window in there, and then I can stand there and look through it while I'm visualizing, you know? And he's like, no, you can't do that because the wind will blow it over. You got to build 4. I'm like, okay. And we're having that conversation, and a car drives up the hill. Remember, this is a dirt hill. I mean, there's no homes up there or anything. This little car comes driving up. This guy gets out, and he goes, what are you doing? And I said, we're building a home. And he said, great, show me. Can you walk me through it? Well, as a matter of fact, I can. And I know how this house goes. So I'm showing him the whole thing, and he goes, wow, this is awesome. When is it going to be done? I said, I don't know. He goes, all right. I asked him, what are you doing? And he goes, well, I'm down here working on, I'm representing a U.S. finance company, and we're working on some new mortgage financing we're going to be offering in Mexico in dollars. Hello? Says, do you think you might want a loan? I said, yes. He said, great, when you get the house done, then you can apply and we'll loan you money. Whoa, wait a minute. What do you mean when I get the house done? If I could get the house done, I wouldn't need the loan. Isn't that the way it always seems to work, you know? He says, no, this isn't construction financing. This is finished product financing. I said, okay, darn, you know. And he was walking away, and then he gets to his car, and he's grabbing the handle, and he said, you know, I'm looking at this development, and this is the first construction going on. And he said, this will be a place where we would really have a lot of great business up here, and we really want this product to take off. I have someone with me that might be willing to give you a bridge loan that would allow you to get 80% complete, because if you can get 80% complete, then you can qualify for finished product financing. If I bring him up here tomorrow, do you think you could walk him through the house the way you walked me through the house? I said, as a matter of fact, I can. So we met the next day. I walked his friend, his name 𝗕𝗿𝘃𝗧𝗵𝗶, through the home, great guy from Australia. And he goes, I love this development. This will be great. I applied for the bridge loan, qualified for that, and we were on our way. And we got all the way to this point. This is what the house looked like when it was close to 80% complete. And on one day in 2007, I turned the news on, and there was a little blip that happened in 2000. What was that? You know what that was? The mortgage crash. Now, I knew that the backing for this particular financial plan was done by a company you might have heard of. It was called Lehman Brothers. What? You know Lehman Brothers? So I called Ryland up, and the mortgage guy, I said, is this going to affect us? And he said, you think? And he said, here's the deal. Some of the money for the funding has already made its way into Mexico. If you can qualify as 80% by the end of the week, you might still get funded. This was on a Monday. We got the inspector out there, and he said there were a few things that we needed to do. We worked day and night that week to get that house complete. Friday morning, I get the inspector back out there. He's going through it. And you can imagine, I'm walking behind the guy, and he's got his clipboard, and I'm like, please, 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 please. And he's like, yeah, okay, we did this. We did all the changes he needed. And he said, all right, signed the 80%, handed me the form. I took it, and I went right down to the notary. Now, if you've never done business in Mexico, the notary that's a whole story in and of itself. So I'm at the notary from 9 a.m. till 4 p.m. waiting for this process. I finally get the notarized stamp, and I run down to the mortgage office, and I go scampering in there. It's 4 p.m., 4:15 p.m. on the Friday, and Ryland's at his desk, and I go into his office, and he's on the phone, and he's like, yeah, he just walked in. Okay. All right, thanks, bye. He hangs up and he says, John, you got the notarized copy? I said, yeah. And he goes, do you realize that your house is the last funded home in Mexico? And I just sighed and thought about every step along the way, from sitting out on that balcony telling Mary how it was never going to happen. All the reasons why. And then a willingness to listen and take the step I could take. The ability to move in the direction of my dream by doing what I could, where I was, with what I had. And if I had waited one day, my dream wouldn't have happened. It certainly wouldn't have happened that way. One day. So I encourage you, do what you can, where you are, with what you have. This is what the home looked like when it was complete. Now, look, I show you this image not to impress anybody, but to impress upon you that your dream is on the line. And having an image for what you would love is really important. And that is the image that was in my mind. And by the way, go for the dream 100%. Because here's the deal. This is 80%. You go for your dream 80%, you have something you can't live in. You got to go 100%. 80%, 100%. The day we moved in, It was an awesome day. There was a great sunset. I asked my two girls to stand out on the street and let me take the picture of the sunset. It happened to be Thanksgiving. It was Thanksgiving Day that we moved in. Now here's some images, again, so that you can imagine in your own mind what your images are for your dream. This is what a master bedroom in our image looked like. Dora's image and my image, a girl's bedroom. And for me, personally, the most important room in that house was my son's bedroom. That's his bedroom, yeah. A guest bedroom for Grandma Mary so that she can come down. Kitchen, family room, a great room overlooking the bay of Cabo San Lucas. Pools. And that's your ME for the weekend, Uncle Matt in the pool with his nieces. And it was Thanksgiving. It was Thanksgiving. And I had a lot to be grateful for. The house, certainly, but more importantly than the house were the new brave thinking tools that I had. Why? Because dreams continue to change. My dream today isn't the same dream. But guess what? I have the tools. I have the tools. And I'm really blessed that I have a brave thinking family. My kids, my son, my two daughters, of course, my wife and I, we all practice brave thinking. And in fact, last Saturday, less than a week ago, some of you know this. My son had one of the lifelong dreams that any person has, and that is to marry the love of his life. Stand up. He's right back there. Stand up for a minute. Yes. Yep. Megan. So I have a new daughter-in-law. I am really, really happy. I'm a happy, happy dad today. And I have a gift for you. So if the staff could come forward, I'm going to put a gift in your hand and give you an opportunity. It's just a little reminder. It's a bookmark. It's a token that you can take with you as a reminder. You're welcome. On one side, this has the image of the napkin and the finished home. And it has a brave thinking code between the images. How do you navigate this gap? Well, Henry David Thoreau put it this way: if one advances confidently in the direction of his dreams and endeavors the life which he has imagined, he will meet with a success unexpected in common hours. And you will meet with a success unexpected with common thinking if you practice brave thinking. And on the other side, we have an opportunity to make a promise to ourselves, to rededicate ourselves. And I rededicate myself in this moment to my new dreams, to my new vision, and I invite you to join me. We will start with the words, I will do. And let's say this together. I will do what I can with what I have, knowing that I will always have way more than I am aware of. You do, you will. Thank you very much.
I'm a soul man. I'm a soul man. I'm a soul man. John Boggs, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, let's take another deep breath here as we come to the end of this video. I hope this clip served you today. And if you know anyone that is going through tough times or anyone who could benefit from this, go ahead and help them. This is all free. Go ahead and help them. Invite them. Share the video with them. And rather than spreading fear and contraction and panic, let's each instead be a part of what lifts us up. Let's give what we can give. Let's spread hope. Let's spread compassion. Let's spread peace and calm, health and love. And so here we are today. You have many choices about where you spent your time. I'm grateful you were here, and I hope for you that you, as people come to mind, that you help them with what you can in the ways that you can only do that. And also, if this is helpful to you, go ahead and share it. It's free from me, and I'm happy to give it away. So becoming a brave thinker, and staying in these higher levels of vibration, we actually become part of the solution instead of part of the problem. It's easy to have the ain't it awful conversation. But as a brave thinker, you're turning now to a different way of being, even in very difficult times. And it makes all the difference. And now, if you would love even more support in embodying brave thinking in these challenging times, I have a gift for you. Click below, and you're going to have an opportunity to receive from me 30 days of daily videos from me for 30 days, helping you stay in a mindset of uplifting thoughts, choosing that day what you can do. I will give you a 5-minute personalized video for you for that specific day of this 30-day program in learning how to establish a set point in your normal thought pattern of being a brave thinker instead of dealing with everything coming at you. You will get through this time, but who you become at the end of this and what your conditions are and whether you've grown through this time or just barely gritted your teeth to get through it will have everything to do with your thinking. So my gift to you is 30 days of training. It just takes 5 minutes in the morning. You're going to have a mindset on anyway. You don't get to not think. Why not think from a vibration that actually takes you where you want to go instead of just barely getting by and reacting to the circumstances we have? So for the next 30 days, I'll send you a 3 to 5 minute video, simple, highly effective steps that you can apply that day to making that day the best day you can have, even in the midst of difficult times. There's no sales pitch in this. There's no hook. It's just a gift from me. And I'm happy to do it at this time particularly. So it's something I've been helping clients with for many, many decades. And I'm just giving it away now. So I'm happy to do that, and I hope you will avail yourself of it. And then if you want to give it to somebody else, feel free to do that right now. That's what we're doing. So, and you can leave any question you want in the comment section below. So I love hearing from you. Did you enjoy this? What helped you? What would you like more of? How you doing right now? What else can I help you with? So until tomorrow, feel a big, big hug from Mary Morrissey.